Sunny Melendrez, Sunny Radio, sunnyradio.com.
Hello, it's Sunny Melendrez, and welcome. You have found the positive side of the radio spectrum. Yes, this is the Sunny Melendrez Show. Every week, we strive to bring you entertainment and inspiration through storytelling, fascinating guests, exclusive celebrity interviews, and it's all delivered with lots of enthusiasm. And I cannot wait to introduce you to my guest this week. You are going to be so inspired. We're brought to you by Ideal Precision Roofing, serving San Antonio and Bernie. And you might think that because it's summertime, we got 90-degree plus weather, that possibly it's not a good time to get your roof repaired or replaced. Not so. You see, Ideal Precision Roofing knows that when it comes to fixing your roof or replacing it, there's no getting around the elements no matter what time of year it is, especially with a lot of the rain we have in the summertime. So, if you've been thinking about possibly maybe you might need a new roof, you're going to want to call Ideal Precision Roofing. They'll come out, give you a free inspection, and if necessary, get the ball rolling with your insurance company to get you a brand new roof. So call 210-485-1553. That's 210-485-1553, or visit idealprecisionroofing.com and tell them that Sunny Melendrez sent you. And now, on with the show.
Sunny Radio, sunnyradio.com.
Rick Lozano is a motivational speaker, consultant, author, and musician who combines his natural talents to help organizations get the result they need using the people that are already there. Rick brings energy, creativity, and passion to everything he does, as you're about to find out. It's my pleasure to introduce you to one of the most positive people I have ever met, Rick Lozano. Rick, welcome.
Thank you so very much, Sonny. Thank you.
I have to tell you, I am enjoying your book so much. We're going to be talking about that, and I want to get right down to it because I think you and I are kind of kindred spirits. You have such a great outlook on life.
Thank you.
And I have to tell you that watching your videos and knowing you, because, you know, we just kind of connected back and forth, and then we finally were able to have a little bit of a visit. I have to tell you, I feel like I've known you forever.
Thank you.
That's how comfortable your personality is. And I think it's a great feather in your cap.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual, but thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So tell me about Rick Lozano, the child.
So Rick Lozano, the child, was the rambunctious kid with oppositional defiance disorder who never followed directions very well, but was always very well intended. And so little Ricky, if you will, you know, he was a good kid, but he got in trouble a lot, but nothing serious or anything like that. And I started playing music when I was a sophomore in high school, and music just became a part of my life. And, you know, it's always speaking and performing in some way or the other have always just been a big foundation, a big part of who I am and what I do. And here's an interesting story that not a lot of people know about me. I started playing music after I had a serious accident. I was I was essentially thrown out of the back of a truck going 40 miles an hour.
What?
I was sitting in the back of a pickup truck, and I was young, I was stupid. I was on one of those truck boxes, and the driver took a left and my body went right, or the other way around. And I woke up 2 weeks later. And it was pretty bad. I was pretty damaged. But luckily I was alive and everything was mostly where it should be. And around that time, I went back to school because I missed about a month of school or something like that. And I had a teacher approach me and said, "Hey, I'm a theater arts director, and it would probably be really helpful for your memory because I had pretty bad amnesia. Let's work on some plays. Let's get you reciting lines." And around that same time, I got exposed to some musicians, and one day I just sat down and started playing my guitar and taught myself how to play piano and taught myself how to play guitar. And if you ask my sister, she says, it's some sort of divine intervention. And if you ask me, it's just, it was just there all along, just waiting for an opportunity. So, yeah.
But who knows, that may have never happened or may have happened much later in life.
Yeah.
So what a gift that was in so many different ways. I mean, it's not the kind of gift you want to you didn't just fall off the turnip truck, although you did.
Yep.
So in high school, now, did you know, kind of an idea? I mean, did you want to be in a band?
In high school, I loved playing music, but I was never very good at it. And I loved acting in the theater, but I wasn't very good at it. And I went to college at that point, and I actually studied theater at the University of Texas at Austin. And I really found a love of performance, but I just was never really sure what to do with it. I love music. I love being in front of audiences. I loved speaking to people. I really loved the idea of connecting with people and inspiring people. And those foundations were laid around that time, but it took me another 10, 15 years to really solidify those things as part of what I do as a career.
And, the other thing that I could see you, you were talking about you being rambunctious and kind of, and I was kind of the same way, scatterbrained. You just, I went to school when I first went to first grade or kindergarten, I couldn't believe that I was there with a whole bunch of other kids, but I would imagine that you also enjoyed making people laugh.
Oh, yeah. I was indeed quite the class clown. And here's another funny story. I went to high school at the same high school where my mother was an assistant principal. And what was really funny about that is I would get into all sorts of little trouble. Again, nothing major, but mischievous trouble. Yeah. And it was as if my mom knew I was going to be in the principal's office before I even did the thing. She was prepared for it. She just knew, little Ricky is going to be in trouble today. So I'm going to head on over to the office and meet him there,
Now, did she let you get your, get your punishment, or did?
Oh yeah.
I imagine so.
She did not stand in the way of that. No, not at all.
All right. So you're taking theater. And does that lead to a degree?
Yes. So I got a degree in theater, and the career path at that point, it goes like this. And this is the true story. Grew my hair long, moved to Northern California to follow a girlfriend, grew my hair long, joined a rock band, wound up playing in Northern California in the Redwood Forest for about a year and a half. And then from there, cut the hair because it was really nasty. I actually did. I have to admit, I had a little mini mullet. It was not the most flattering thing. I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and lived there for several years, wound up moving back to Texas, and I became a high school theater arts teacher at the same high school I went to.
Wow.
Which was bizarre because all of my old teachers were there. So I did that for a little while, but I wound up moving back.
So your old teachers are there, and now you're one of them.
Yes, and it was bizarre because, well, first of all, you find out how crazy your teachers really were, because as a student, you never know the real deal, if you will.
Right.
But you're like, whoa, these people are in some cases awesome. And in some cases, wow, they're crazy. But it was a lot of fun. I wanted to continue teaching, but I moved to back to Colorado, and I didn't have a job and I wasn't certified to teach in the state. So I took a job in banking, quit banking, went back to teaching, quit teaching, went back to banking, got a job teaching banking. So that's how I became an official speaker. It was a degree I wound up working for a major bank for about a decade as learning and development consultant. And I essentially became a leadership trainer, a management trainer, a sales trainer. I did all sorts of training under the sun. And at that point is when I really started to realize, hey, all of these sort of skills that I had as a kid were always there and just, waiting to come out. And of course, that has now evolved into something different where I now also incorporate music into what I do. It's just been fascinating.
And if you're listening right now, you've got to go to ricklozano.com and you'll see just a whole plethora of all kinds of things that Rick does and the kind of really the kind of speaking that he does that is so different because it's so entertaining. And you just came out with a brand new book, got one of the first copies.
That's right.
Acoustic Leadership. The first thing people say when they see a leadership book is great. All we need is another leadership book.
Yep.
Tell us why this is different.
So Acoustic Leadership, Develop a Leadership Culture That Resonates is the book that I wrote. And, how is this book different? There's several ways that it's different. The first of which is I've read a lot of business books in my life. And, a lot of them are pretty academic, pretty straightforward. And to be perfectly honest, they don't read very well. They're not as compelling as I would personally like. And I decided at a certain point, I've got an opinion on how to help develop effective leadership. And one of my biggest things that I would try to solve for in the book was how do we uncomplicate this puzzle? How do we make it simple for leaders to do their best work and for people who they lead to do their best work? And it was that focus that I was really sort of trying to pull out. And so I did a lot of research and I tried to find the most effective ways to really help, especially newer emerging leaders, really develop, if you will, their craft. And of course, in my world, music is the source of inspiration and connection. And I not only sometimes bring music and went into my speaking and into my workshops, but I also use music as sort of that conduit for connections. And I started thinking about the world of music, and this term resonate kept sticking in my mind. And I thought music resonates, it reverberates, it connects. And the most effective leaders do the same thing. They reverberate, they have an influence on people. And it was around that time that I realized there was something to this idea of unplugging, getting away from all the technology and just getting back to the basics. And so acoustic leadership came from my love of acoustic performances. And I found you do remember the old MTV Unplugged stuff. Do you remember?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I was watching, by the way, I was watching at work, don't tell, but I was watching some episodes of MTV Unplugged and I was going, why are these so appealing? What is so good about this music? And I realized all of those episodes had three things in common. They had simplicity, authenticity, and opportunity. It was simple. It was scaled back. It was raw. It was real. It was minimalistic. Authenticity. It was in an intimate setting and it didn't have all the giant lights and stadiums and performances. Right. And then finally, it was an opportunity to hear the audiences do something different. The artists do something different. It was a chance for the artists themselves to do something different. And what was really cool in some cases, it was a chance for the artists to highlight other artists. And I kept thinking about those ideas, simplicity, authenticity, opportunity. And I thought those three foundations would really, really help leaders. And so I wrote the book and I couldn't help it because, Sonny, you know me, there's a part of me that I got to do things in my own unique fashion. And so I leaned on the idea of music. And along the way, one of the other things that differentiates the book from other leadership books is I wrote it like I speak it. I use the same language in the book that I use the same way you and I are conversing right now. And I did integrate some musical concepts. So what's cool about the book is you learn a couple of things about music. You get exposed to some different musicians and thoughts, and you also learn something about leadership on the way. So it's been pretty cool.
I guess the way to really explain what it is you do is that you're not only authentic. It's almost like this is your version of the Rick Lozano Unplugged.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think, Rick, that you are inspiring others to be their authentic self.
Yeah.
And so many times we tend to try to be like others or try to be someone that we're not.
Yeah, I agree, Sonny. And I hope that is the case. And I think all of us, at a certain point, we learned the hard way. We tried to emulate people that we admired, rightfully so, because they were influential in our lives. But at a certain point, we realized, hey, I've got these things and they work for me. And I can't do anything else. I cannot be another Sonny Melendrez. I cannot be another, you name it. I can do these things and I can do these things really well. And the best advice that I was given, and I tell the story in the book, I had a leader that, in a nutshell, he said to me, Rick, you do three things really, really well. And I said, really, that's it? Just three things? He said, yes, just three things. You are a great speaker, you're a great facilitator and trainer, and you're a great musician. Do those three things. And that advice really changed my life. And, it's just been so wonderful because I feel like I'm finally flowing in my jet stream. doing the work I was supposed to do, combining all of these skills that I always had available. And it's funny because every now and then, Sonny, people will say, okay, well, I don't play guitar, or I can't do exactly what you did. And I tell them, please don't. You don't want to be like, you don't want to be like me. That, I'd question your life choices if that was the case, but you don't need to be like me. You've got this area of excellence, these things that you do that really only you can do those things. And that was really kind of what I try to hope, people take away from all of this stuff is we have no choice. Well, we have a choice, but being our authentic selves is better. It feels better. And ultimately it's going to get us the best results. And you're a testament to this, Sonny. You've done what you've done for so long, being this unique, vibrant, enthusiastic person. And you don't do it like anyone else. And you couldn't if you tried, but nobody else can be a Sonny Melendrez either.
Well, I tell you something. You, like you say, you're preaching to the choir. But I want to know during the pandemic, in this time, how does that philosophy translate and apply to the people you try to inspire?
I think being authentic also means you keep it real with people. And I will be absolutely sincere in the fact that, I along the pandemic, I'm a human just like everybody else, and I struggled just like everybody else. The last several years, we've had a lot of confusion and chaos in the world, and you and I are both really positive people. And I found myself at a certain point going, here I am, this motivational speaker, if you will, and trying to help people, trying to inspire people. And I found myself at a point along the way where I said, I'm not feeling it. This is rough. We're in this weird point in our lives in this world where I don't exactly know which end is up. And it was funny because I started feeling, and I think everyone at a certain point feels sort of a sense of imposter syndrome, and I thought, well, who am I to motivate people? I don't feel motivated. But it was in that moment where I realized, look, what I do have control over in this life is where I put my attention and focus. I have control over what I do. I can't change the world. I can't, fix all the world's problems and, cure the pandemic. I can't do that. But what I can do is make the choice to, in my own way, help other people. And that just became the thing where suddenly I realized that is what we all can do. We can all make the choice to put something positive into the world, especially now because we all need it. And it was hard, but it was a journey, and I worked through it. And suddenly I realized that's the answer for me, at least, is I change the world by changing the way I approach it every single day. And I'm not perfect, but I tell you what, more often than not, I will choose to put positivity in the world rather than to contribute negativity and be sucked down by it. I think we all can do that.
I agree. And you do it not only with your authentic self, but also with your sense of humor. Because you don't take yourself too seriously.
I know I can't. Yeah, it wouldn't work.
I was thinking about when you were telling me about all the things that you'd done, and you were a banker and you taught this, and it was kind of like a country song. Have you ever thought about doing a song about your life?
What's really funny about that is I did. I have one actually. I did a keynote presentation in Columbia, South Carolina. And I had somebody come up to me after the session, and I had done that same conference 2 years in a row. And this participant comes up to me and said, "Hey, it's good to see you again. Thank you. Your presentation was great. I wanted to tell you this story." And so he told me this story about some things that he had done using some of the ideas that we had talked about the year before. And he said, "Thank you. You've been an influence to me." And by the way, I love people who express gratitude. Telling other people the impact that they had on you is such an easy thing to do, but it means so much.
Amen.
And this person said this to me, and it felt really good. And at that point, he says, "So tell me," and similar to the conversation that we had earlier, he said, "How do I be like you?" And I said, again, everyone has their own path. He said, "No, but how did you become, a speaker who also sings and plays music and trains leadership and all this stuff?" And I told him a similar story to what I told you earlier. And he said, "You should write a song about that. And you should call it How to Be Like Me." So, of course, Sonny, what do you think I did?
I see a bunch of guitars in the background there. Can you maybe pull one off the wall?
Yeah, no, I've got plenty at my disposal, so I might as well. Let me run over here and grab. This is my good old Martin D15, and this is my baby. I've had this for about 25 years, and
You've got a great collection. I see a mandolin there. I see a ukulele,
yeah,
electric guitar.
oh, yeah. There's quite a few littered around this house here, and so here is. And I hope I remember all the words. This is the story of how I came to be like me. And again, Sonny, this is a joke. I do not take myself that seriously. But this is the musical version, if you will, of the journey that we shared earlier. So here we go.
This is the radio premiere. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rick Lozano and the radio premiere of How to Be Like Me.
Graduate from college with a useless degree. Moved to California to set myself free. Grew my hair long and joined a crappy band, and that's how you be like me. Moved to Colorado with a woman who's a clown, but now I probably should give some context to that. She wasn't.
Wait a minute. A woman who's a clown?
She wasn't. She went to study clowning at clown college. This doesn't help the story. Let's go back. So moved to Colorado with a woman who's a clown. Break up because you're afraid to settle down. Move on back to Texas for a teaching degree, and that's how you be like me. Move back to Colorado for a woman that you met. Struggle for the bills because you don't have a job yet. Marry and divorce. See how easy this can be? That's how you be like me. All right, here's that hard part. Quit teaching, move to banking, quit banking, back to teaching, quit teaching, back to banking, get a job, teaching banking. See how that works? Stay a corporate trainer because you love what you do. Work for a tech co, try something new. No more suits and ties on my body, you will see, and that's how you be like me. Find the love of your life, have marriage, celebrate. She thinks the song is stupid, but I think it's really great. Become a singing speaker who teaches how to lead, and that's how you be like me. That's right. That's how you be like me. One more time. That's how you be like me. That's right. How to be like me. That is the step-by-step process right there, Sonny.
Rick, that is fantastic. That's wonderful. I hope you do this when you speak.
I do. Every now and then I have at least one keynote that's featured in. Yeah.
What does your wife think about that?
She knows who I am, and she loves it, embraces it, supports it, and she's absolutely supportive. And yeah, without her, I would have had a really different route and a different experience. But she's fantastic. So she supports every part of it, and she's actually a big part of it. She's my brainstorming partner, and she's also my developmental editor. She lets me know when things aren't working, and she doesn't hold back. And I need that.
Same thing here. I'll tell you, we're truly blessed in that regard.
Indeed.
So, what if you could talk to your younger self, knowing what you know now? What would you say to a much younger Rick Lozano?
I would say a lot of things. I think going back to that whole point, I would say several things. Not only embrace who you are, but spend time trying to grow and trying to develop in the areas where you're already great. We have, you think about when we were kids, right? We were told from kindergarten on, we were told that we always have to focus on the things that we're not good at. We were told, you'd bring home a report card and you had A's and B's and maybe some C's and D's. And they said, you got to bring those up. You got to be great at those things. You got to fix what's wrong. And in school, that makes sense. But as adults, as human beings, the truth is we're not going to be great at everything. And we've got to make decisions around where we spend our time. I can spend countless amount of hours. I can spend a gazillion dollars trying to get better at the areas that I'm horrible at. Or I can spend probably less money and get exponentially better at the things I'm already great at. And that's what I would tell my younger self. Stop worrying about those things that you aren't great at. Focus on those areas and double down on those things where you're already naturally gifted. That to me is the magic sauce for anybody.
Wow. Well said. Well said. Well, we are much better for having listened to not only your sense of humor, your great songs, but also your wonderful wisdom along the way. Acoustic Leadership. Where can we get this book?
It is available on Amazon. That's the easiest place to go to grab it. Or you could go to my website, ricklozano.com, and it's available there. And
you have a YouTube page as well. So we'll have all the links to that, to all of your social media.
Absolutely.
I cannot tell you how much I enjoy not only the book, but also just knowing you and knowing that we're kind of in the same stratosphere in so many different ways. Yeah. But Rick Lozano, congratulations on all your wonderful success, and keep on inspiring.
Thank you. And same to you, Sonny. Thank you for so many years for being such a positive force in this world and such a positive voice on the airwaves and the internet. So thank you.
You're very kind. What did I tell you? Well, that's my visit with the very genuine Rick Lozano. Now, you're going to find all of his links, including his website, social media, and where to get his book, Acoustic Leadership. You'll find that all at sunnyradio.com/show. That's sunnyradio.com/show. And if you like the show, want to hear more? Subscribe to my podcast on Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Sonny Melendrez, echoing Rick's advice. Stop worrying about the things that you aren't great at, but rather focus on and double down on those areas where you're already naturally gifted. Bye-bye.